Trojans. So I want to go over Padlet again and just remind that we have Padlet. It's awesome. And then there's different features that are already embedded in Padlet and different ways that we can use Padlet. So for one, to join Padlet, you just sign in with your Google, just like we do with everything else. The trick is, this is a little bit cumbersome, is that to get our Salinas Union High School District paid version, the pro version, just make sure that you're up in the tab. So when I log in, I've been a Padlet user for years and years, and when I log in, it shows my basic account still, which is a little bit useless to me, a little bit, because I can't add anymore. So I can go to the Salinas Union High School District tab at the very top here, and now I can see all of the Salinas Union High School District tabs within this. A couple of things I want to talk about with creating the Padlet. When you create your Padlet and make it, you have all of these options to choose from of how you want your Padlet to look. Like 90% of the time, I just select the wall because I'm boring like that, but there's lots of different ways you can do. The shelf one also gets used a lot in my class, but you have a couple different options like the map and the timeline and the grid. All of these are really great options as well. So once you have your Padlet, it's going to ask you to make some modifications here. So you can give it a title, give it an icon, choose if the author is going to display above each post. Students do need to log in if you want that feature. If not, like most of the time, I just have them write their name on the side just so that I don't have to deal with login issues. But there are some things I do want them to log in for. And then also comments, if you want them to turn on comments, and then reactions. I really like having students give kudos to each other, and so to give a heart reaction, or just to keep track of who's read what, is what I use the most here. And then there's also, you can also require approval, and then the filter profanities, replace bad words with nice emojis. Luckily, I haven't had much of an issue with that in my classes, but it's an option there as well. The one thing I want to point out, when you go to share this, you have a couple of options. So in our backpack, the Salinas Union High School District domain, every Padlet is automatically going to be set as private. There's a couple of key things that you want to do here. Is you definitely need to change that privacy for them to use it. You want to change it with secret, and you want to change it as secret can write. That is like what you were going to use majority of the time, like 99% of the time with your students. If you don't have them edit, because then they'll be able to require people's posts, they'll have the same rights as you do and the same access as you do in the Padlet. So can write is beneficial, and then that's all you need to do. Now, what we want to do, don't select organizational wide unless you are working with staff. And so if this is a Padlet that I'm creating for the staff, then I can just create that and put it as organizational wide, and then it's going to show up in, when I go looking for the Salinas Union High School District stuff. So, but you do not, students are not going to be able to access this if you put organizational wide. And the reason why is that those students do not actually have the premium version of Padlet. They are just using ours. So anything that's organizational wide is just going to be seen by the staff, and students will not have access to it. So for students, make sure that you keep it as secret and can write there. And then that's it. And then you share the link, or however you do that. Going back to our main Padlet here. So just to point out what I was talking about with the organizational wide, and as you can see it, so I can see the Padlets that I've made here. I can even go to more recent ones, so the more recent Padlets that have been made, and this includes my own and other people's, so I can see a couple of other teachers popping up. I can also see shared, so if a Padlet was shared with me, then I have this. Now, again, any shared ones that's going organizational wide, that is going to be seen here. Any liked Padlets, so if I liked any ones or any ones that I've archived. With this shared one, so if you put as anybody in your district or in the organizational wide, it is going to appear here for all of the district. So if I was to make one for Alisal High School and put it organizational wide, the entire district is going to be able to see it as well. So just keep that in mind as you're going through. You have, I can see Julie Cruz made a Padlet and it did it for organizational wide, and I can kind of see that. And so anything you put organizational wide, anybody in our district is going to be able to see and access as well. So just something to note and keep in mind. One of the best ways that I use Padlet, I use Padlet all the time in my classes. I really like the bulletin style type of resources and sharing of ideas and being able to like and comment on each other's ideas in one easy location. But there's a couple of other ways that I want to point out how we can use this. And one way is just to share ideas amongst teachers. So this is our advisory Padlet. This is something that was shared amongst the district, and then we've been adding to it. And I really like this is the shelf version. And so this is really nice just because it keeps these activities really organized. So if I'm looking at my advisory, or if I'm creating a lesson for advisory, or looking for a fun Friday activity, or just something, I'm noticing something that my students are asking for, I can go to this Padlet, and if I I want some fun and games, I can look at all of these shared resources that are under fun and games. Or if I notice my students need some more social emotional awareness, I can look through here and be able to add to it. This is also something as in our Avid PLC we have been sharing. So we have an Avid planning resources Padlet that we use. And let me share. And so all of the different types of activities that we do for Avid, we have our sharing resources. I love this because instead of looking through my drive, instead of looking through our notes, I can just look here and be able to see all of our stuff. So we do quotes every week and look at inspirational people. So with Manning Gorman, I just added in, but I can kind of see. And so we do, I do a quote of the week, and a lot of us do the quotes of the week. And so we can be able to pull and share these quotes of the week from people. And it's super easy, and just to kind of have a hive mind perspective of being able to gather these resources. And then each week as I'm creating lessons and so I'm going through, I can just go here and see what the quotes are and look up more information about that person. Same thing with all of our other categories too. We have a lot of Avid resources. So tutorials that we've found. Being able to add this in and be able to have this collective resource has been really, really awesome this year, because then I'm not having to search for my drive. I'm not having to look at notes, being able to look at all of these other things. I can just easily see it right here. So that is one way to use Padlet for your PLCs and having all these resources together. The other thing I want to point out is there's a lot of different ways that we can use it. So this is an example of how my students have used Padlet every Monday for their asynchronous, as we have them look at current events. For some reason on this Padlet in particular, the documents aren't showing up, but usually the documents show here. They still work fine. So when I click on this, I can actually see my students' document here. But when you add things, and when students add things to Padlets, there's a lot of different options that they can add in. So one thing that I've added here, and of course it's not going to load so you can't see it, but there is, I've added in my little GIF. So I had an instructional GIF of showing them how to share their document. For whatever reason, this Padlet is not showing it. So let me go to a different one. Let's try our current events of November 9th. So being able to see this, again, kind of being able to see their documents posted in here. So I can see my students, most of the time if you add your document before you share it and have change the share settings, it is going to show up as Padlet like this. If students share this, or if you share your document before you add it into here, then it's actually going to show the actual document within this image. So just a couple things to keep in mind. So for example, Ruben here, he shared his document before he added it to the Padlet, so his actually looks like an image. So just one thing to keep in mind with that. So one thing with this too, so if I go back to my current Padlet for today's current events, or this week's current events, I can, one thing that I really like doing is adding in those instructional GIFs. And so those instructional GIFs can also be added in as part of your Padlet. So before students even posted in this, I had created a post and I just put how to post your document and remember to check their share settings. And then I have the GIF built in directly into the Padlet as well. I also usually take screenshots of how exactly I want them to post. So there's certain Padlets that I want them to post in a certain way to like include their name, or to have part like A is one sentence summary, part B is like how you know this is factual information. So having that kind of student example built in the Padlet, I highly recommend. Now there is a ton of options for Padlet, and so I can go to this little square here, or I can just double click anywhere on the Padlet and it should bring it up. It's up here at the very top here, and I have a lot of different things that I can add in, or that students can add in as well. So they can upload directly into the Padlet. You can have them insert links. So a lot of times I have them insert direct links for their sources. They can actually even search Google. So if they can have images or videos or GIFs or audios or even web that they can search for directly into this. So this could be a great beginning, an opening activity of like find an image or find a GIF to show how you feel today. So have that directly into the Padlet. They can also take pictures. So maybe you want them to take pictures of their notes if they're writing physical notes or whatnot. They can directly add it in. Of course, you have to allow students to add it in here. And then like I said, lots and lots of different options. So if you click on the three dots here, you have all of these options. They can record a voice. So you might have them do introductions to each other. They can do capture films from their camera or take a picture of it. They can draw directly on this. So when I click draw, they now have their own drawing with it as well. They also can add a location or link to a different Padlet. So all of these options are directly into Padlet, which makes it a really great versatile resource. So maybe instead of having, if you want students to insert links and insert film or voice or whatever you want them to do, and to be able to collectively see each other's, then this is a really great resource. Unfortunately, like unlike Flipgrid, where you have the option to like moderate it and like where students can't see each other's responses, you don't have this option here. But this again is a really great collaborative tool that they can use. So maybe they're drawing how they feel, or having them draw out their notes to solve a problem. Maybe you're having like you post a question as you're beginning, like post in a question of how to solve it, and then everybody has to draw it. Just, whatever, the sky's the limit when it comes to this, and different ways that we can use this. But I wanted to point out all these features that are built into, that are automatically built into Padlet here. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know, and have a great day.